I'm sorry na nawala bigla because the signal just screwed up all of a sudden ng Trixie Cruz-Angeles for Luminous. I-recap lang po natin yung pinag-usapan natin tungkol dito sa issue ni Reyna Menasino at ang kanyang anak na si River. Reyna Menasino was arrested in a raid and nahanapan po, subject of a search warrant. Nahanapan po siya at ang kanyang mga kasama ng mga long arms. I understand one is at least an M16. The other might be a grenade launcher and grenades. And so ang na-charge sa kanya ay illegal possession of firearms and explosives under the new firearms law. So this is non-bailable. Ulitin ko po, this is a non-bailable offense. She was pregnant at the time na nahuli siya. And so habang in detention, naging evident yung kanyang pregnancy and eventually she gave birth. Humingi po, nagpetisyon ang kanyang mga abogado na i-release siya pending the birth and habang newborn yung kanyang anak. And the issue went all the way to the Supreme Court. Ang sabi lang po ng ating Korte Suprema ay ibalik ito doon sa trial court. Ngayon, nag-express naman po, to be fair, ng compassion ang ating Supreme Court Chief Justice, and I understand they are looking into this matter. Okay, while shortly after she gave birth, namatay po yung kanyang anak at lumaki yung issue na ito. Nag-file po ng motion para maka-attend ng wake si Miss Reyna May sa kanyang anak. At ginrant ito ng hukuman for a certain number of hours for 2 days. Okay? They had asked for 3 days, pero binigay sa kanya 2 araw at binigay din sa kanya yung opportunity na maka-attend doon sa libing. In one instance, while she was attending the wake, maraming nagkaroon ng tulakan because her jail guards wanted to bring her back 1 hour before she was due to return. So, ang sabi, kung ang binigay sa kanya ay 4 na oras, wala pa pong 4 na oras, inuuwi na siya ng kanyang mga gwardiya. Dahil dito, nagkasigawan, nagkatulakan, at it was broadcast all over. Ang kadalasan na naririnig nating paratang ay yung pagsasabi na walang compassion ang ating BJMP at ang PNP dito sa isang ina na nagluluksa tungkol sa kanyang anak. Another issue was yung dami ng jail guards. Another issue is bakit hindi pinayagan ng hukuman? At dahil hindi pinayagan ng hukuman, ginagamit ng mga kapanig ni Ms. Reyna May itong issue na ito upang mag-akusa sa ating gobyerno na ito ay marahas, oppressive, at hindi makatarungan. Bukod pa doon, walang compassion. So, para maliwanagan lang ang mga tao tungkol sa issue na ito, unang-una, nag-exercise ng discretion ang ating hukuman dahil wala pong policy or rule that makes it demandable for Ms. Reyna May to ask for to be with her child nung shortly after River was born. Hindi po naging karapatan niya at walang obligasyon ang ating hukuman o ang ating gobyerno na i-guarantee na she stays with her child. Ano pa? Meron bang hard and fast rule na kailangan bigyan siya ng pagkakataon na mag-attend ng wake or ng funeral? Wala din po. Blankong-blanko ang ating batas tungkol dito at wala din pong rules tungkol dyan. Pagka ganun po, walang rules, ang ginagawa ng judge is nag-exercise siya ng discretion niya. And in this case, yun na lang, the situation, mother and child, eventually a dead baby, is ripe for what we call political theater. Magagamit po ito para i-over-dramatize yung issue. But before we go into the drama, first, let's separate the facts. Yun nga, namatayan talaga. Indeed, Miss Reyna May was pregnant, she gave birth, nahiwalay siya sa anak niya at namatay yung kanyang anak na hindi niya nakikita. She had been asking to see her child at hindi siya pinagbigyan dito. Umabot sa Korte Suprema yung issue, pero ang sabi lang ng Korte Suprema, ang trial court po ang mag-decide o maggawa ng findings of fact dyan. Was this a right? No, there is no right, there is no law kasi, and there is no obligation on the part of the court to grant this to her. Was it a right that she could demand from the BJMP? Hindi din po. Was there anybody who could give her this leeway? Only the judge, and it was in the exercise of his discretion. And wala po tayong law or policy tungkol dito. This is not the first time a mother has given birth in detention, so yung kakulangan ng batas has been evident from a long way back. Ang hindi natin maintindihan dito ay kung bakit kapag aktivista na yung nakaranas ng ganito, ay dun lang ginagawang issue. Samantalang we know that mothers who are not activists, who have committed common crimes, ay nahihiwalay sa kanilang mga anak. Aren't we going to fight for them as well? And if that's what we're going to do, if we think that mothers should be with their child, even if the mother is a detention prisoner, then we have to create a law. Ball is now in the Congress. Right? The court can also make a policy or a rule allowing this or directing the BGMP to allocate resources so that the mother can room with the child until a certain age, okay, or until weaning, whichever the court decides. Pero let us not turn this, but let us also recognize na this is being turned into political theater. Yung mga nagmumura sa administrasyon, sa PNP, sa BJMP, dahil sa ganitong sitwasyon, are barking up the wrong tree. Why? They didn't make the rule. The law has been there, or the lack of the law has been there ever since mothers have been detained. And so, thank you to Reyna May Nasino for shedding light on this blank space sa ating batas. But we also recognize what her colleagues are doing. They're making this overblown. We sympathize with her. Masakit po mawala ng anak. The pain is unimaginable. I know, it's happened to me. And also, pag nanganak ka, syempre you want to be with your child. It's a given. Your maternal instinct screams when you're not with your child. And yes, we sympathize with that. But if we really want to make a change here, we need to ask our legislators to make a law or our Supreme Court to make a rule. If it is within their power to do so. Sa Supreme Court, they can only make rules for matters that are under the jurisdiction and without going into judicial legislation. Hindi kasi trabaho ng hukuman gumawa ng batas. So, ang batas talaga ginagawa ng ating legislators, but the court can interpret the laws in certain ways so that it might be able to address this situation. All the shouting should be productive. In other words, we are aware now of this issue, and I would personally like to see that a law be put into place to address this. Everything else is noise. So yung mga nagsasabi, Reyna May was illegally arrested. That's not the point, diba? The point is we want every detainee mother to be able to spend time with her child, especially kung bagong panganak, diba? Pag nanganak siya, so her newborn be with her, or to be allowed a certain amount of time to be present with her child. We should make rules para dun sa mga namatayan, merong situations talaga that they should be allowed. Or maybe the court can simply clarify if a detention prisoner is in danger na baka tumakas ito, then the court can deny. And that's what happened here. The court gave her a limited time to attend the wake and to attend the funeral. Limited yung oras na yon dahil limited din yung kakayahan ng PNP at ng BJMP mag-provide ng personnel for the entire period of the wake and funeral. Yan po ang reality natin. I have had clients na namatayan ng family members when I was representing mutineers in 2006 to 2009 or 10. Isa dun sa mga kliyente ko, his sister had cancer and she was dying, and we had asked permission from the AFP Chief of Staff then, who was, well, somebody who's in position right now. And he denied the opportunity for my client to see his sister before she died. I was very angry, but at the same time, I also had to accept the fact that this was not a demandable right. It depended on discretion of the court martial at the time. She died and he never got to see her. So in this case, naiintindihan ko yung pighati ng nanay na namatayan siya ng anak hindi niya nakita. And yes, we can have compassion for Miss Reyna May while at the same time recognizing the political theater here. Yun lang po, let's be the better person. I would like to ask people to rise above the kantsawan and the murahan online. There is room for us to be compassionate with the mother. This is also the same expressed sentiment of the DOJ secretary. We sympathize with her, but there is no rule. And that we should ask the authorities, those who are capable of making rules and laws on this one, to make rules and laws for this one. The president had nothing to do with her detention or her death or the death of her child or their separation. These are spaces or gaps in our policy and in our law. Everything else is political theater. Okay? Let's see, ano ba yung mga tanong ninyo pa? Okay, pwede na tayong lumayo dun sa issue na recap na po natin. Sabi ni Ma'am Sarah, kapag nanay, dapat katabi ang anak unless nagtatrabaho sa abroad. Alam niya palang may anak siya tapos magpapahuli siya na may sandata. No, she was pregnant at the time. Ano gusto niya? Yakapin ng buong Pilipinas kung todo na may banda. Wait ha! Yung mga ganyan opinions, yes, we can express that, but it is important to note that Reyna May Nasino is still innocent until proven guilty. Okay? So we can't say, ikaw kasi terorista ka. Well, hindi terrorism yung crime dito. Ikaw kasi illegal possession of firearms ka. Dapat hindi ka talaga payagan. Ay, hindi pa natin napapatunayan yan. She is in fact being detained to prove whether or not she's guilty of the crime. Okay? So we can't say with finality na guilty na siya. But at the same time, pag sinasabi nila, oh, yung mga police, illegal arrest. Madam, you raised that in court. You charge the cops for the illegal arrest. Yung mga sinasabi ninyo si Reyna May is innocent until proven guilty. The presumption of regularity vests in the police, and they likewise are innocent until you prove them guilty. Tabla-tabla yan. Okay? Ano pa yung mga questions ninyo? Titignan ko yung bakit po ba ang laki ng galit ni Banat by KPP? Let's leave that to the two of them. Huwag na tayo pong makisali dyan. Sabi ni Ronald Drago, planted daw yung 2 Armalite kasi nakatupi sa bulsa niya. I understand na yung Armalite was hidden daw under a mattress. At ina-argue po ng lawyer ni Miss Reyna May that this is improbable or unlikely to have been done. But then that is part of their defense. Sabi ni Ma'am Isa Torres, yung bar top notcher, tama po ba yung hanash niya? Hindi ko po nabasa yung kanyang hanash na tinatawag ninyo. So why don't you tell me what it is? It's possible na magkaiba po kami ng opinion. Shout out po kay Joke, defender ng human rights, para sa mga minasakor na moro, di nakita ipin niya doon, araw-araw same pic pero different caption. I don't like na yung physical attributes niya yung i-discuss pa natin, hindi naman po necessary yun. Kailangan rin naman natin na nagtatanggol ng karapatang pangtao. Yun nga lang, if they're going to argue their case in the court of public opinion, he has to be prepared na he will be criticized by people who will not rely on the law to criticize him. Tama si Ma'am Dady na hindi daw nirespeto yung mga taga-BJMP, pinagtutulak, dinuro, sinigawan, and I agree that they could have handled that much better. And that they could have asked forcefully but without resort to violence and pushing of the jail guards who were of course doing their job. Mali sila na maaga nilang gustong iuwi si Miss Nasino. But at the same time, mali din yung pagtutulak at paninigaw sa kanila. Sabi ni Chito Luis Sanchez, bakit political prisoner, hindi kriminal ang tawag sa kanila? Hindi, wag po kayong magpadala. Political prisoner is part of your political theater. That label is part of your political theater. Ang sinasabi nila, whatever crime Miss Nasino is being accused of, it is in pursuance of higher ideals, an ideology, or a cause. At kinikilala po ng ating batas yan. But I don't think she can be called a political prisoner if ang crime is a common crime. Diba? Illegal possession. Ngayon, kung ang crime dito ay rebellion at yun ang chinarge sa kanya, that might render her a political prisoner. Ngayon pa man, ginagamit yung term na political prisoner para ma-describe ang isang akusado o isang detainee na yun nga, ang ginagawa nila, sila ay na-detain or na-incarcerate, na preso dahil sa pag-express ng kanilang political stance or meron silang ine-espouse na political cause. And the law takes that into cognizance. Mas mababa po, mas mahina po yung apoy ng penalty kapag ganun. And the reason for this is we all want to change the world. Okay? And many times, the world is changed by people who we call our activists. Now, activism is not a crime. Okay? And not all activists look like not all activists are tinged with yellow or red or anything like that. For instance, there are culture activists. Mga katulad namin na gusto namin iprotekta ang ating heritage. And therefore, we rally people to petition Congress to make proper laws, correct the laws. We ask city governments not to tear down heritage structures, that is also activism. Agitating for change, that is activism. So, hindi necessary masama yun. Pero, kapag isinama mo dun sa iyong activism are violent crimes or crimes that cause damage to the society that you're trying to uplift, then that is no longer activism. Okay? So, it is either rebellion or later on that might even be terrorism. So, let's just be more nuanced dun sa approach natin. Hindi yung galit tayo dahil sa term na aktivista. Hindi po ganyan. Kasi may mga aktivista naman na hindi po yun yung purpose nila, ay maggulo sa society natin. Okay? We also have to give thanks. Many of our activists cutting yung ating Bill of Rights ay resulta yan ng activism. Resulta yan ng pagkikilala ng ibang mga gobyerno dahil sa pagkikikayat at pagpetisyon ng kanilang mga citizens para bumuntas. So the law becomes more fair when we are involved. And when we get involved in our laws and our policies, that is also an activism. So huwag magpadala dun sa mga labels. Mag-concentrate tayo dun sa ginawa. So in this case, I don't think there is much of an argument that Ms. Nasino is undergoing trial for illegal possession of firearms. Okay. So yung illegal possession of firearms, and she has to go to trial for it. Sabi ni Gemini Lardo, pwede ka kaya mag-guest sa TV program ni PP sa SMNI. Pag hindi siguro kasabay, nagkabola, of course, wala na kaming love na namin, he's always going to be a karambolista. At the same time, kumbaga, walang issue sa mga ganyan. Nag-crossover nga tayo sa good vloggers, di ba? So, why not? Si Mark at saka si Ethel, they cross over to Tambayan sometimes. So, yun po ang ginagawa namin, crossover din tayo. Huwag lang po magkasabay dun sa mga tanong. Sound is loud but choppy. That's the signal po. Hingi na lang po akong paumanhin para sa ating signal. So, since medyo choppy na daw po yung ating sound, choppy pa rin po. Check natin. Siya pa rin, may gumugulo pa yung signal. Okay, I think it might be my cue para magpaalam. Maraming salamat dun sa mga sumuway dito, sa akin, at nakisalo dito sa aking mga live today. Shout out po dito kay France Gerard. Nanood po sila. France Gerard Reyes Imperial. Hi France! Yes, I'll post your video. Maraming salamat sa pagpapanood dito sa Luminous. Kung hindi po kayo nakatanggap ng notice, just click on the video on the upper right hand corner. Usually, merong nakalagay dyan na subscribe. So, just subscribe and follow po kayo sa Luminous. Magkakaroon din po kayo ng notice for this one. Tomorrow, pag nakita na po natin yung bagong IRR ng Anti-Terrorism Act, magla-live po ulit tayo. Precursor para dun sa karambola discussion on this one. One last question. Sabi ni Ronald Bravo, I'm an activist for the right to bear arms sa Pilipinas. Pwede ba yon? Yes. Yes. When you commit to change, there are activists for federalism. Diba? All of these are causes. Okay? So, maraming salamat para hindi na po sumakit ang ulo ninyo dahil choppy na naman daw po yung audio. This is because of the telcos. Maraming salamat sa pagsubaybay ngayong araw na ito. We'll see you tomorrow.